Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. Hello, stunners! Happy Wellness Wednesday. Welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope we're all doing well. I hope you are sat comfortably and I hope you have me up on full volume because I got shit to say in this episode. I have taken this afternoon to write a few notes because it was all feeling quite loud in my brain, and a few notes turned into a few pages, literally half my notebook, okay? So yeah, I actually have a notebook in front of me for this one because this topic has been buzzing in my brain for a good few weeks. And as you've probably deciphered from it's not exactly hidden in the title, but yes, we are talking about self-expression and how serotonin lives in self-expression. When you allow yourself to express fully, serotonin is firing, is sparking, okay? It's a surefire way to activate that feel-good feeling and then let it ignite, okay? So that's why I want us to talk about in this episode, because I just feel like, I don't know whether it's because I'm just such a creative person, but I just feel like there's not enough of us really allowing our creativity to shine. There's not enough of us really seeing the way we show up, the things that we do as art, as expression, and we're not owning it enough. I feel like we limit ourselves, we contain ourselves, and yes, in some ways we're conditioned to feel this way, but we kind of like exist in this sphere, in this like realm of what's deemed appropriate, things we should and shouldn't say, and like how we should behave. And I don't want to exist in that sphere. And I don't want you to exist in that sphere. So this is an episode about self-expressing. We're going to express the fuck out of everything, all right? And we're going to start to see things as art because it is. Everything you do is art. It is beautiful in some way, okay? Even the way in which like you take that first breath each morning, okay? The way in which you grab your pen to write in your journal, okay? The way in which you, the way in which you giggle, the way in which you cry. It's beautiful, it's art, and we're going to start seeing it that way. I've come into this episode, God, quite aggressively. I'm so sorry. I had a really big, fulfilling breakfast, so I'm full of energy. So, before we get into things, I want us to talk about, okay, like what actually is serotonin, because I'm pretty sure we've heard about it. It's a word that's kind of thrown about here, there, and everywhere, that and dopamine. But serotonin, it's kind of known as this feel-good neurotransmitter, okay? But what does that mean? What that means, it's this feeling. It's not this constant happiness or this overwhelming joy, but it's this stability and this safety that can be cultivated from within, okay? And serotonin, it plays a role in your mood and your emotional steadiness, your this feeling of feeling grounded, this calmness, most importantly, your confidence and your self-trust, and that's probably the avenue I'm going to spend most of my time in when discussing this. But also serotonin has a role to play in your overall health, your digestion, your gut health, as well as your sleep, your rest, your circadian rhythm, right? So serotonin, it's really important, all right? And when serotonin is fully supported, that's when we tend to feel just more settled within ourselves. Again, like we can trust ourselves more. We know that we're capable of handling things however they are, you know? And perhaps we're less reactive. We're able to respond to things more, okay? So serotonin, it's not just about feeling good. It's about feeling comfortable, safe, and capable. And most importantly, serotonin responds really well to things that just let your nervous system take a fucking break. Take that full exhale and be like, oh, right, I'm just able to be myself here. Okay, I can relax. Right, I don't always have to be in fight or flight. I don't always have to be forcing, fighting, fixing, or pretending or performing. I can just be me. oh, amazing. And again, that in itself is beautiful. That's a beautiful feeling. And again, ways in which we can allow that to come through is authentic expression. Again, that's the avenue that I'm going to go down mostly. Authentic expression, movement, sunlight. I've probably said before that I do feel like I come alive in the sun. In the winter, I feel like a wilted flower, but spring is on its way and God, I'm ready to bloom. But also serotonin responds to things like connection. And obviously connection can be a whole like realm of different things. It could be connecting to others. It could be, again, reconnecting to what makes you feel good, okay? But also it responds really well to when you feel seen and heard, where you're not, again, having to diminish or dilute aspects of yourself, aspects of your personality, where you are able to fully be yourself. Serotonin is there and she is lapping it up, okay? But again, when we suppress our feelings or when we shrink ourselves, serotonin isn't able to flourish, okay? And again, that can affect all the other things I mentioned earlier on. So again, that can affect your sleep, your circadian rhythm, it affects your digestion, your gut health, your confidence, your trust, okay? It affects all those things, right? And it can be subtle, it can be noticeable, but hopefully what this episode is going to bring through is ways in which we can clock that a little bit more. Be like, hang on, how can I welcome in more serotonin today? And how can I allow myself to be fully seen, fully heard? Am I allowing time and space for authentic expression, or am I performing in a way that's deemed, acceptable or appropriate, or I don't know, whatever other labels we kind of put on that. So what I'm inviting you to do, honey, is find ways in which you can connect through words, through breath, through movement, and most importantly, through your creativity. We send a signal to your nervous system, to your body, that we're not in any kind of danger. Again, we're safe. We're safe to exist fully, not as a limited, diminished version of yourself. I know, hands down, I'm at my absolute happiest when I am being creative and I'm allowing myself to just play, be curious, when I'm like expressing myself fully. And even when I'm feeling, sad or somewhat low, the second I allow myself to actually just to feel it, even if it's just to have a good old cry, that is connecting to your voice, connecting to your lungs, right? Even when I allow myself to have a good old cry, I'm allowing all these things to rise to the surface. I'm allowing myself to feel it all. And again, I'm building that trust within myself. I'm telling myself it's okay to feel this way, and it's okay to express that I'm feeling this way. As a little example, it's probably going to sound like so silly. Sometimes I think back at it and I was like, wow, what a weird time. And I've probably mentioned this before because it does stick with me. Probably when I was in like the first 6 months of my big breakup, right? I cried so much. Obviously, because I was going through heartbreak, and I was really sad about that. But I cried at every single fucking thing. Like, even when something was really happy and really joyous, I cried. And an example of this, which I could be really embarrassed about, but no, fuck it, I don't really care. Because again, it was just me giving myself permission to feel. But I participated in a deadlifting competition. It would have been like October, and my breakup was in, when was it? June, July? I don't know, that summer's a bit of a blur. So yeah, not a lot of time had passed, but I was starting to, as I've mentioned before, I started to rebuild very, very quickly. So I participated in this deadlifting competition. I wanted to feel strong, feel empowered, and I ended up winning. I ended up winning that deadlifting competition, which was bizarre, and I cried. I cried when I won, and it's not like I'd won the Oscars. It's not like I'd won anything like spectacular. It was just something that my gym had put on to raise money to bring in. I think at the time they were raising money to bring a defib into the gym and advocating that all spaces should have defibs available. And actually, as someone who has needed access to a defib very, very recently, not personally for myself. Again, it was when I was dealing with this, my first ever incident in a yoga class. Fortunately, it wasn't needed, but, I needed to be aware where it was. And again, it was for a good cause, right? Not to go on too much of a tangent. And yeah, I won this competition and I cried. And I just demonstrated this real like physical strength, like a little bad bee deadlifting this heavy weight, and I cried. And I remember my friend was there, and I think she saw me getting upset, and I just looked at her and she was like, "You're right." And I was like, "No." And again, I cried. Now, you could say this was because, there's like a weird duality during that time. I was experiencing this heartbreak, but then there was this joyful moment, and it was the conflicting nature where I was just like, I don't know how to feel, so I'm just going to cry it out. Because I'm again reminding myself that like happiness and sadness can coexist at the same time. It just feels weird, but I was letting my emotions exist right on the surface. They were all there, so as soon as anything was a slight trigger, it was there. I was just letting everything spill out as it needed to. I wasn't holding anything back. I wasn't kind of swallowing it all. I wasn't trying to squash it. I just let it all exist, and I let it all spill over whenever it needed to. And actually, as a result of that, I was building safety. I was building self-trust, and I was building authenticity within myself without even realizing. This wasn't a conscious thought that I have. Like, believe me, I didn't have it in my head, be like, oh, if I win this competition, I'm going to cry and bawl my eyes out. No, that is not a thought that I had. But looking back on it and how everything has unfolded, and all the things that I've learned since that catalyst, right? Everything that has happened has been building this trust and this authenticity and this ability to self-express in a way that's healing, in a way that's boosting that serotonin level, and again, that feeling of safety within my nervous system, because I'd come from a place where I was feeling unsafe, I was in fully fight or flight, and I needed to come back home. I'd literally come from a time where I was suppressing so much of myself, and therefore my body was seeing it as danger. And when I say that, I don't want people to think like I was physically in danger, right? That's not what I'm getting at, okay? But my body was reading it as some sort of danger signal. So therefore I was gripping, I was tense, I was small, okay? So when I allowed myself to just express whatever was going on, my body immediately, literally, it was almost like a flick of a switch, my body immediately started feeling safe again. So self-expression, whether it's having a big old cry or whatever it is, okay, is self-regulation. It's emotional release. It's high vibrational energy, right? It's all those things. And it exists in movements, whether that's yoga, whether that's stretching, whether that's shaking, whether it's dancing. It's in your voice, whether that's singing, humming, talking, shouting, crying. And it's in your creativity. It's in your writing. It's in your poetry. It's in your art. And even if you don't believe yourself to be a particularly creative person, you are. As much as you try to deny it, you are a creative person. You are creating something every single day. But we just don't see it that way. Let alone do we see it as art, okay? So I need you all to start seeing yourself as a magnificent piece of artwork, okay, that cannot be matched, that cannot be replicated, that cannot be performed elsewhere. It's something that's unique to you. You are art, and you just need to start expressing that. Only then can we rebuild this authentic expression and self-trust from within, and this confidence from within. So this episode is designed to reconnect you with your creative self and let that become the repetitive practice, because obviously through repetition we build more of that self-trust, we build more of that self-respect, okay? And creativity is kind of like a muscle. You do have to train it, you do have to work it, you do have to figure it out, what ways in which, you feel the most creative. But I promise you, unlocking that kind of creative spark within you is just going to open up more pathways through which you can express yourself. Okay, so it's not always through the words you say, all right? It's how you enter into a room. It's how you show up in, the various roles and responsibilities we have. It's that ripple effect always, and again, like I said before, we have all been conditioned to some extent to be palatable, to be quiet, to be agreeable. No one really wants to be seen as too much or full of ourselves. And actually there's a lot of us that don't want to be seen at all. You know, we want to stick to the shadows and almost hide ourselves away, because then there's perhaps a fear of judgment or criticism, or you know, my favourite, there's a fear of being seen as cringy, okay? And that is a tragedy. That is an absolute tragedy, that there are so many of us keeping ourselves back, existing in the shadows, and never letting that creative spark see the light. Honestly, I can't imagine anything worse, to be honest. I know that sounds like I'm exaggerating. I know that like there's lots of like real tragedies happening in the world right now, but you have the ability to let your creativity shine, but we're choosing not to. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And self-expression, it isn't about going, you know, from being the quietest person in the room to suddenly being the loudest person in the room, you know. And, you know, when you allow yourselves those moments of creativity, you don't have to share it with others. It can just be for you. No one else needs to see it, but your body needs to see it. Your body needs to feel it. That's what matters. There's this young girl that keeps popping up on my Instagram, and I just find her incredibly inspiring. I don't know how old she is, but I think she's probably in college, so maybe like 17, 18, or she might be in some sort of kind of like fashion apprenticeship. So yeah, she's young, okay? And every day she posts these videos like, come get ready to school with me. So she posts these outfits that she's going to school in, and they are the most creative outfits for school that I've ever seen. She is one like cool, quirky individual, and she just wears it proudly, right? And I think back to when I was at school, I was conforming to the max. There was no way in hell I was making myself out to be different than anyone else, you know. I was that person that was happy to exist in the shadows. And actually, if I'm being really honest, in some instances, yeah, I still am that little girl that, you know, just wants to exist in the shadows. But I also remember deep down that little girl did want to be seen, did want to be heard, but was just too scared and didn't have the right avenues to do that, to explore that, okay? This girl that I've seen on Instagram, she has found that creative outlet, and honestly, her outfits, I don't know how they work, but they just work. Like the layering, the mixture of patterns. I mean, a clash of patterns for me, I balk at. They terrify me. You guys know me, I exist in neutrals the majority of the time. But this girl on Instagram, she just goes for it. But I also don't think that she woke up one morning and suddenly decided, you know, I'm going to throw on this outfit and I'm just going to make it work for myself. You know, she has practiced that. She has trained herself in this way. She's tested different combinations of patterns. She's found what works, and she's continuously developing that skill. And she's just going to get better and better and better. She is going to be a fashion designer, surely, okay? And it takes a lot of us a lot of time to find, you know, that creative calling, that outlet, right? Because again, more often than not, from a young age, that creativity is stamped out of us, okay? We're meant to sit up straight in our seats at these desks and listen to, I don't know, some person ramble on about something that happened in the Victorian era. I don't know. And again, we're told to be quiet. That creativity, that playfulness, that curiosity is diminished from a very young age, and there's a few of us that fight for it and claw it back and resist letting that go. This girl is absolutely one of them. And you can just see so clearly that this girl has such a good aura about her. She literally is just glowing because she's allowing herself to express herself. And again, it's literal art because, you know, it's fashion. But even if it was something entirely different, in my mind, it's still art. It's still beautiful. And actually, I think that's one of the good things about social media, because there are a lot of people who are building that confidence to show up on social media, to talk to the camera, to be their most authentic self. I had one person come up to me not too long ago and say, you know, you're really comfortable talking in front of the camera. You know, how did you get to that point? I was like, well, it was hella awkward at first. But to be honest, you just get over yourself. you just get over yourself. And actually, I think some ways showing up on social media is easier when there's no one else around you. Because again, there's no one there to judge you in the moment. People can judge whatever I post on social media, it's fine. I can't see it, you know, unless someone actually comments on what I post. I don't see the judgment, okay? Which is great, which means I'm able to continue creating as much as I want to, right? I went to a dance class last week and Lauren, the teacher, she asked us, would we be up for filming like a little testimonial? And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't mind talking to camera. I fucked it completely. I kept messing my words up because I was surrounded by people now talking to the camera, which to me was quite interesting because again, it just shows that I've practiced and cultivated this creative self that is able to exist freely when I'm on my own, but I still need to work on it when I'm with others. Do you get what I mean? Do you get what I'm getting at? Is the message coming through? I'm hoping so. What I'm encouraging you to do, lovers, is find something that allows you to explore your creativity. Okay, that reminds your body it's safe to express, it's safe to be fully seen and fully heard. I hear so many people saying that they want to go to a dance class, and I'm like, do it then. What are you waiting for? What are you holding yourself back for? The amount of times every Wednesday when I post the routine from Heels class, every time I have a message come through saying, I'd love to go, I'd love to do this. Wow, that's so cool. It is cool. Come along then. It is cool. You can do it too. Heels classes, dance classes, or yoga classes, they are a beautiful way to, again, really remind your body that it's safe. It's safe to move in this way. Especially when we talk about I'm going to fuck this word up. Especially when we talk about why can't I say this word? Hang on. Femininity. Especially when we talk... Right, hang on. Third time lucky. Especially when we talk about femininity. There we go. She got it. Okay. Or like sensuality. Okay. We believe that only exists behind closed doors. All right. We can't talk about it. We can't show it. Oh, how boring. Quite frankly, that is so boring. When we were filming these testimonials after Heels class, and lots of the other girls were talking about, you know, how they feel safe to express their sensuality and, you know, their flirty side. That to me is exactly what it's all about. It's letting the girl that has a complete solo concert in her bathroom or in her kitchen when there's no one else around, no one throws it back harder than a girl who's having a solo dance party in her safe space, right? No one, all right? It's allowing that girl to rise to the surface, allowing that girl to be seen. It doesn't have to just exist behind closed doors, all right? That is why I will continue to rave about Heels until the end of my days, okay? And that is why I will continuously talk about allowing yourselves to be creative, to self-express, because it's for that person who has existed in the shadows for far too long. Whew, Jesus Christ, it's exhausting being this passionate about something. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go to a Heels class, or maybe I am. I'm not saying you have to, I don't know, do something radical, but if there's something that you have been thinking about a long time, and I know there is, okay, that everyone has something, right, that you want to try, that you feel like your soul is calling out for, if it keeps calling, that is your calling, okay? Your body deserves to feel safe again. Your emotions deserve to feel seen again. Your human experience deserves to be experienced. Again, there's so much we miss out on when we hold ourselves back for whatever reason, when we again keep ourselves in this sphere of what is deemed appropriate or palatable. You are missing out on so much. So, honeys, that is my plea for you in this episode, okay? Serotonin, self-trust, self-acceptance lives in self-expression. And again, it's not something that you need to chase or optimize or fix. Serotonin and self-expression is something that rises naturally when you stop abandoning yourself, really. When you let your body move the way it wants to move. When you say whatever it is that you've been swallowing. And again, expression is not asking you to be the loudest person in the room, nor does it have to be the most polished or perfected, okay? It's just asking you to be honest. That's all it is. It's just asking you to be honest with yourself. And when you feel that honesty land in your body, that is such a relief. So if you're feeling, I don't know, low, disconnected, or craving something different, let yourself express. That serotonin lives in the moments you choose yourself time and time again. So let yourself express, let yourself create, let yourself be seen as art, not to become something new entirely, not to change anything, but to come home to who you really are. Again, that is my plea. That is my final words in this episode. I love you all. Go live your best, creative, abundant lives. Keep living deliciously. And I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah! Alright, stunners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope it has left you feeling suitably inspired. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, all those lovely things, as not only does this help the podcast grow, but it also helps us to reach more beautiful souls who need to hear these conversations. And of course, come hang out with me over on Instagram and TikTok at LaurenAmyYD, and follow the pod at butterflyeffect.pod. You can also dive deeper into yoga, meditations, poetry, and so much more with me over on Patreon. Until next time, keep living a soft life loudly because you know you deserve it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!